Welcome to Near Protocol, a green blockchain to register and sell your products without harming the environment. This is Karma Podcast.
Okay, so you want to dive headfirst in the amazing universe of chaos magic and sigilizations, but you haven't the faintest idea of who or Peter Carroll or Austin Osman Spare are, nor what the hell a servant is. Maybe you don't have the money, or maybe you just hate books, or you are simply too lazy. I don't care, I just hope this episode can help you somehow. Let's begin with a little history class. Sigilization or sigil magic is generally attributed to Austin Osman Spare. I think he got it from drawing monograms on the margins of his school notebooks when history class got boring, or maybe looking at watermarks on money too much. Sigilization is a simple way to obtain magical results, and is used by most contemporary magicians, and seems to have become something of a fad among more recent practitioners of the occult art. But once you've understood the basics of sigilization, and tried them out with some of the more popular methods of sigils, you can venture out and try new forms of sigil magic that will work in fantastic ways for you. Magic, basically, is a way to imprint your will into the fabric of reality and make it comply with you. It may sound crazy, but believe me when I say, reality is itching to play with you. And there is a way to materialize a condensed reproduction of a wish to a minimal unit, which will then be magically charged during the state of gnosis where it can manifest to become reality. This minimal unit, let's call it, you guessed, a sigil, can be a mantra, a drawing, a sound, or practically anything else, as long as it bears no resemblance to the desire that gave rise to it. Yes, in magic there is always a catch. For Spare, the quality of the work depended on combining and compressing as many complex concepts, until they become a single sigil that could be stored in the mind as a single focal point during the state of gnosis. Got it? I figured not. Let's go step by step this time. Get ready, wash your face, and try not to look suspicious if you are listening to this at your workplace. First, what do you want? In magical terms, this is called specify the intent. The first step of the process is that you should have your intention clearly in mind, as precisely as possible without, at the same time, getting overly complicated. Vague intentions often give way to vague results, and the initial statement of intent is always consistent with the results achieved. Sexist alert. This is based on true facts, but once I made a sigil to manifest a lover, and gave very precise details of how this person should look, what kind of car she should drive, color of her hair, etc. Needless to say, she manifested herself exactly as I had specified, but I found out too late that I had forgotten to specify her intelligence in the recipe, and found her to be an extremely boring person. Yeah, I know, not me. But hey, we are talking about magic, and if magic sex never crossed your mind, well, you are a better person than me. Back to basics, the intent should always be in the imperative, and words like no, never, nothing should be avoided. Instead of I don't want to be fat anymore, use something like I want to be fit, or thin, or sturdy. Second, the easy way is the easiest way, beware. Generally, sigils are excellent for bringing about accurate and fast results, which makes their use great for, but not limited to, healing, habit manipulation, inspiration, dream control, and more. But you have to remember that magic is a force of nature, brute and primal power. It doesn't have a moral code, or pity of the practitioner. There is a standard magical example about getting money that goes like this. Magic operator X casts a spell for money and expects the universe to provide him with wealth. In the following months he becomes financially rich from the inheritances of his parents' sudden deaths, and receives industrial compensation after entering into bankruptcy of the association he participated in, and so on. If he had been careful, or at least creative, he could have foreseen there was a path like this that magic could take. He should certainly have taken more care. There were hundreds of different ways to get rich: writing a book, getting a job, or playing the lottery. Go ask Paulo Coelho about his choices. In sigilization, the maxim "be careful what you wish for, because you might get it" is even more true, so that experienced mages start to be careful with what they may wish for. This is simply the magical way in which magic works. It is the universe's sense of humor. Third, plug and play. Once you have decided your intent and have it clear in your mind, it must be transformed into a symbolic analog or subjective code, a signal on which you can focus varying degrees of attention, without remembering your initial desire. We will get back to this later. The most common approaches to this are the pictorial sigil and the mantric sigil. The pictorial sigil is a kind of sigil often used on talismans or as lucky charms. The most common method of creating this type of sigil is to write your intent in a sentence. Let's say, "I'm getting sexier every day." Now, cross out the repeated letters and use the remaining letters as parts of a drawing. Make it weird, make it fun or obscene, make it a pictorial glyph. The mantric sigil is based on the creation of a word or phrase with no apparent meaning that can be repeated aloud or silently until it disappears in the form of a traditional mantra, primal screams, or a personal jingle. The creation method is very similar. Again, write a sentence if you wish, like, "I will dream of my dead grandmother." Now separate the phonetic syllables. I'll dream of my dead grandma. The. Now mix the sound in any strange new order. The result could be something like Mafi Granmil der Drie Momide. Now you can repeat it, sing it to the Coca-Cola tune and then hum it. Anyway, now you have a sigil. So what? The next step is to seek the intense emptiness of gnosis, or to dive into the void, or make your soul so shit-faced that it will forget what it is like to exist. Gnosis is the key to magical abilities as Peter Carroll defined it. It is the attainment of an intense state of consciousness known in various traditions as no mind, disfocus, or satori. Consciousness is emptied of all its information, except the objective-subjective concentration of the desired result. Various methods of attaining gnosis can be resorted to, from dancing frantically to ecstatic contemplation of an idea. Attaining gnosis can result, for the religiously oriented, in a mystical experience, possession of gods or demons, or revelation of divine truths. However, for the mage, the extents of such an experience are far less interesting than what can be done with them. It is during the moment of gnosis that sigils can be cast. In order to cast the sigil, or imprint it onto reality, the mage works to prevent it from manifesting again, and this is achieved in several ways. Popular modes of gnosis include spinning or singing or dancing to the brink of madness, visualization, sensory overload or sensory deprivation, the use of some sort of artificial or natural drug, group rituals, hypnosis, sexual climax, repetition of a word until loss of meaning, adrenaline overload situations, physical or mental assault, physical or mental exhaustion, or any other altered state that leads to indifference and mental emptiness. Wait, calm down, no need to start breathing hard. Let's get simple. An example of sigilization is doodling sigils while listening to an extremely boring conversation where you have to take notes. You can hang the sigil near the TV and watch until you are hypnotized by it, or engrave the pictorial sigil on your cigarettes and smoke them during the day. In addition to casting sigils, the state of gnosis can be used by the mage for many other purposes. He can reach anywhere in space-time, engage in shamanic divination, and gods can possess his devotee in the process. While there is a lot of talk about magical secrets, the only true secret is the one you must discover personally by the direct light of personal magical experience. This is simply the projection of the sigil by gnosis to allow its manifestation in the universe. You can also achieve it through climaxing orgasm, reaching the blackout point of hyperventilation, or having your attention asked by your better half during that boring conversation you were supposed to be listening to. It's called point zero, the moment when the mind stops thinking and simply observes. At this moment, the sigil is concentrated on your mental screen, whether in a pictorial image visualization, or as a mantra, or as a cathartic scream. Finally, the last step in the sigilization process is to forget. Once your sigil has been cast, it is necessary that you forget your original intent and let the butterfly effect take its course. Told you, there is always a catch. You specified your intent. You weighed the best strategies to make it manifest itself. You made a damn sigil, energized it, and now, you have to completely forget everything. Forgetting what you've just done can often be the most difficult part of the process. Sometimes the sigil can be burned, buried, thrown into the ocean, or dissolved in juice and drank to aid the process. It's not so bad if the intent is something you don't really care about quickly, but it's harder if it really is something you want to see happen right away. But why forget? What should I forget? The sigil or what I asked for? Well, magic is basically energy assuming physical forms, changing stuff. Every time you think about our intent or the sigil, you become like a lighting rod, attracting part of that energy back to you. If intent is expected with all other matters on your mind, you tend to start projecting various fantasy outcomes, what you will do with the money when it arrives, how it will be with the man or woman of your dreams, etc., and so will be diminished proportionally, so that it manifests as soon as you stop. It's almost like a kid on Christmas Eve who is so excited about waking up in the morning to get his presents that he can't even sleep. A useful attitude to have when casting sigils is that once you have cast them, by using gnosis, you are already sure that it will work, so you don't need to expend any more thoughts with it. Hard. Yeah. But as long as you don't emphasize your thoughts when they come or obsess over it, you shouldn't care too much. The experience is similar to trying to hitch a ride on an abandoned road in the middle of the night. You stay there for hours, it's raining, and you know with an air of terrible certainty that no one is going to stop at this hour of the morning, but you stick your hitchhiking thumb anyway and... what the hell? 5 minutes later a handsome woman, riding a red Porsche, that other sigil, remember, comes out of the blue asking where are you heading? And you won't be surprised, you might be happy but not surprised, after all you always knew it would work. Maddening, isn't it? Yeah, but sigilization often seems to work that way. If you liked this episode, meet other strange people like you at www.morte.net. Be part of the problem.
This was Karma Podcast, sponsored by Spiritual DAO on Near Blockchain. Stay tuned for the next episodes.